Hey guys, welcome to Franklin Woodworks. I know it's been a while since I've posted a video on the guitar build, but I've been a little busy at my real job, and I've had a few other projects that I needed to get out of the way. But better late than never. Have I mentioned that I hate finishing? I hate finishing. I guess the main reason that I hate finishing is that I think I'm not good at it, and I'm not good at it because I'm impatient. Patience is probably the most important thing when it comes to finishing. Second would probably be skill, and I'm lacking on both of those. But this is not a video about how to finish a guitar, it's about how I'm going to finish this guitar, and maybe along the way we can all learn something from the process. So first off, let me say that I don't paint the guitars I make. I want the wood to show, and paint just covers stuff up. Second, I'm scared to death to do lacquer or any other sprayed finish. I have the equipment to do it, I just haven't had the time to practice to make sure I've got it down before I ruin a guitar. So that leaves me with an oil finish. Oil finishes, at least the ones I use, are a combination of oils and varnishes blended by the manufacturer, designed to give a particular look with a certain level of protection for the wood. For this guitar, I'm going to use natural Danish oil, with the natural meaning that other than the oil itself, the finish doesn't color the wood, although it will darken it a bit. There's a few reasons I like this finish. First, it's hard to mess up, unless you're extremely impatient, so I'm already beginning behind the curve. Second, it really shows off the wood by making the grain pop. Properly applied, an oil finish can give a look of depth without a thick buildup on top of the wood. And just as important as the look, the feel of an oil finish is second to none. And I have a technique that will give you a feel as smooth as glass without the plasticky feel of a thick finish. So first, it's a good idea to read the instructions on the can. I start by flooding the surface of the guitar with a ton of oil. This allows the oil to penetrate the wood, which will not only make the grain pop, but give the wood some long-lasting protection. After about 30 minutes, I flood the surface again with oil. And when I say flood, I mean paint it on really thick. And I use cheap foam brushes for this because the excess is going to be wiped off anyway. After another 15 minutes, I wipe away all of the excess oil and let it cure for at least a day. I do this step for the fretboard also. I want the fretboard to have some level of protection, but I won't do any additional coats because I don't want a film finish on it. Different woods absorb oil at different rates, and since I use different woods for this build, maple, cherry, and ambrosia maple, the differing absorption rates are a factor and is also another reason to flood the wood with oil in the beginning of the process. The cherry on this guitar is especially thirsty and really drinks in the oil. This can also be true even if the wood is the same species or even from the same actual tree. Wood is different from inch to inch. So after the oil is cured, I use a small folded square of paper towel to apply a thin coat of oil, using the same principle as a sprayed finish, which means starting off of the guitar and finishing off of the guitar. I don't start the stroke in the middle or you'll be able to see a starting point. Overlap the strokes and refill the paper towel as often as needed to give a consistent coat. But I try to make sure that the oil is applied very thin, and this helps to eliminate the stroke marks. The manufacturer says that the oil cures in 8 to 10 hours, but I found this not to be true. Fully cured to me means that I can sand it without gumming up my sandpaper. This matters because of a technique I learned from a furniture maker that I'll do next. But first I need several thin coats of the Danish oil, which means one per day for probably about a week. Now for the trick from the furniture maker. If you've ever wet sanded a lacquer finish, I do the same thing, only I wet sand the oil finish with more oil. Using 1500 grit paper, I soak the paper in Danish oil that I diluted with mineral spirits at a ratio of about 2 to 1 Danish oil to mineral spirits. And I wet sand every inch of the guitar. This is why I need so many coats on the guitar before I start this step, and why I use 1500 grit paper. I don't want to sand into the color. After each section of wet sanding, I wipe off the excess oil. When the whole thing is done, I'll let the guitar cure for a few days, then add one more thin coat of oil using the same mixture of Danish oil and mineral spirits. The result is a finish that feels like glass. In the next video, I'll start to add the hardware, fashion the bone nut, and decide where my controls are going to go. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and a share. I'd really appreciate that. I've also got other videos on my channel, including some of my original music and other woodworking videos, and I'd love for you to give them all a look. So I'll see you next time, and there you go.